Hi, we're going to do a review of the last 5 units, and these are the particular phrases and expressions. So remember that we're trying to be able to produce them easily and sounding naturally. So you have to practice by saying them. It's no good listening to me. So I'll ask you to say things and try to copy not just the words, but try to copy, putting some rhythm, some emphasis, some stress, and so on. So first of all, let's just briefly go through them. You say them after me. Personally, I really admire people who have a lot of patience. Next one. Actually, it was a really unforgettable trip. Next one. She said she had had a great time. So notice here, had, had. So this is the verb have in the past perfect. So if you say it very clearly, it's very good language, impressive. Actually, one thing is that the transport system leaves a lot to be desired, you said. And finally, I think we could do with a lot more investment in the bus system. So we're going to practice these in situations, but you can use them in many different contexts. So, for example, the first one here, we'll leave out the filler. We'll just practice the main part. But remember, when you're speaking, you want to add these types of words as much as you can. So this was just an example. The question, do you collect things? I might say, to be honest, I don't. I think it takes a lot of time and energy to be able to do that. I really admire people who have a lot of patience. Personally, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't. But let's just look at the phrase here. I really admire people who have a lot of patience. Again, say it. And then we can think about, well, let's just say it once more. Say it once more. I really admire people who have a lot of patience. Okay. And now we can substitute things that we admire. So the first one, again, I will say it. You speak in the gap. You say the whole phrase in the gap, and then listen to me and just check again. So we're repeating. We're trying to get it so it can come naturally. So the first one, have a lot of patience. I really admire people who have a lot of patience. Next one, can resist eating cakes. I really admire people who can resist eating cakes. And number 3, have a lot of self-discipline. Good. So we can think of all different kinds of things we could put here. It's anyone who does something. Let me just make that bigger. For example, I really admire people who work hard. I really admire people who do not complain. So anytime you're talking about something which involves people, you can use this kind of structure. I really admire people who are stoic. Stoic is a good word I like. Stoic means that people who don't complain very much and just carry on and not feeling sorry for themselves. Next one. It was a really, we'll leave out the fillers when we're practicing, but when we're really speaking, we want to make sure we add them in. It was a really unforgettable trip. Say it. Say it again. It was a really unforgettable trip, talking about something. So again, you speak in the gaps. Trip. It was a really unforgettable trip. Meal. It was a really unforgettable meal. Experience. It was a really unforgettable experience. So we can say this for anything which is very, very memorable. It was a really unforgettable day or a really unforgettable holiday. It was a really unforgettable sight, absolutely beautiful. So, or it was a really unforgettable time in my life, holiday. So something which is very memorable. It was a really unforgettable something. Make sure you're comfortable with that. She said, describe a time when you used the paper map was the example of a kind of question. But the point is that this can be used with anything. Here I might say, well, I went, I'm going to talk about the time when I went hiking with my friend in the mountains, and we didn't use our phones or GPS. We used a paper map to navigate our way. At the end of it, she said she had had a great time. So this is reported speech, and this is reflecting positively, had had a great time. But reported speech is very important. Notice here, what would she really say? If she was speaking directly, she might say, I have had, or she might even say, I had, looking back on it, a great time. But either of these, I have had a great time, direct speech, or, oh, yes, I had a great time on the trip, direct speech. We report them as she said she had had a great time. So it changes the tense. So she said she had had a great time. You say it. Every word clear. Say it again. She said she had had a great time. Very important, impressive structure to use in IELTS speaking and in any speaking. So again, you speak in the gaps. Had a great time. You say the phrase. She said she had had a great time. Really enjoyed the experience. She said she had really enjoyed the experience. Had a great day. She said she had had a great day. So these are looking back positively on things, but we can use the same structure with almost anything. For example, I have been to France. She said she had been to France. I have not been to the USA. She said, or he said, it was me, he said he had not been to the USA. So you can use this for anything that people say. So it's easy to use it several times if you're taking the IELTS exam, and this would be very good, a very impressive thing to do. Next one. Is there anything you dislike about your hometown? So again, people often use very, very boring ideas, but we want to try to use some just ordinary thinking. What would you really think about it? So actually, one thing is that the transport system leaves a lot to be desired. So well, we'll say it without this part. So we'll just practice the phrase, but this is very natural to use when you're talking for a longer, talking in the exam or just talking more generally. These are little bits that make it sound natural. The transport system leaves a lot to be desired, means it's not very good or could be better. The transport system leaves a lot to be desired. You say it. Good. Say it again, just this bit. The transport system leaves a lot to be desired. Pardon me, I've got a bit of a sore throat. So again, you speak in the gaps. The transport system. The transport system leaves a lot to be desired. My writing. My writing leaves a lot to be desired. Very true, actually. Your attitude. Your attitude leaves a lot to be desired. I hope that's not true. So it just means bad attitude if you say that about someone. You could say, what other things can we talk about? We could talk about anything really. My cooking, this is true. My cooking leaves a lot to be desired. His piano playing, he's learning the piano, but unfortunately, his piano playing leaves a lot to be desired. So I buy, for example, I buy a lot of takeaway food because my cooking leaves a lot to be desired. This kind of phrase is very natural there. Next one. What can the government do to improve transport? Well, I think we could do with a lot more investment in the bus system, for example. So let's just do the main phrase. We could do with a lot more. We could do with, it means it will be good to have. I think it will be good. We could do with a lot more something. We could do with a lot more investment in the bus system. You say it. Okay. Say it again. We could do with a lot more investment in the bus system. Again, all the time, I won't keep saying it, all the time we want to get rhythm and stress. So you say it and then check with my answer afterwards. Investment in the bus system. We could do with a lot more investment in the bus system. Holidays. We could do with a lot more holidays. So I think that's true. Libraries. We could do with a lot more libraries. And parks. We could do with a lot more parks. So we said we could do with a lot more or something. we don't have to say a lot. We could leave this out, for example, just say, I could do with, what do you need in your life? Well, I could do with more free time. I could do with more um, clothes, for example. I could do with more holidays, or the school could do with more sports facilities. So you don't have to say a lot more. We could just say more, but we could do with is the more something, is the pattern that we use a lot and will sound very natural when you're speaking. Think about things that you could do with, that your town could do with, that your college could do with, or whatever. People could do with. I think people in general could do with more leisure time. I think they could do with more, more what? More opportunities to get some exercise, or whatever you think. There's no limit here. It just means things that people would benefit from. Right. Okay, so we'll stop there. So I hope that let me just go back to the beginning. So take the phrases, try to be able to say them confidently so that they're all available to you when you are speaking, and think about ways to substitute other things you can substitute for these. Focus on this phrase and substituting here. Okay, we'll stop there.